So now let me introduce our host of this talk, Mr. Arjun Soman. Now he is part of a company that is called Infoedge. Do you know some of the companies inside Infoedge? One of the big ones is Naukri.com. Naukri is famous, but even more famous is Zomato. Zomato is inside this company that he's part of. So he gets to see many things. And also he is in the Middle East where much of the better jobs can be found. And he has been doing this ever since he left Amrita almost 10 years ago. And what he has been doing is highly rated by Naukri.com management. He is rated as among the best employees and among the best in explaining things, as you will see. So I have asked Arjun to give a 30-minute or so presentation about practical things you can do now to get ready for the better job. It's not just studying, but also showing the way you should be in LinkedIn, Naukri.com, other ways you can do this. He will describe all that for you and tell you where to look to improve your job prospects. And hopefully you will get an excellent job earning much more money. Okay, so with that, let me turn it over to Mr. Arjun Soman.
Thank you so much, Professor. So like Professor said, I started off with Naukri, as part of the placement program from Amrita. That's the first job I entered. I started off with the Chennai branch, and then I got a migration opportunity to the Dubai region, and I've had a fantastic growth from there. All thanks to Amrita, the good story they have had now rated among the top 5 universities in India. So I'll start with the presentation. I'll share the screen with you, and we'll take it on from there. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is now.
Okay. So like everyone, even I had a lot of questions at that point, when I was doing my graduation in Amrita, about what would be the company I would be doing, what kind of job should I be taking up, will this have future growth opportunities, what will be the kind of pay scales I'll be having, all of those questions. Touchwood, when you connect the dots back, everything makes sense, because like Amrita says, it's a platform for life and living. You post both ways, to engage both in a very successful way of life and living. So that's something, be rest assured when you're learning with Amrita. So to start the presentation, I'll be taking you through 10 steps, which will really help you about deciding about what kind of career you should be choosing, what are the strategies you should be planning up to make your better career prospects. And thirdly, you should be making a very long-term approach to a career, because it's not that you start with something, you can keep switching it every now and then. It's a compounding platform where you start with something, you have certain skill set, you should keep compounding so that you land up at a very successful place 10 years, 20 years down the line. To start with, the step number 1, everyone has this, as soon as we graduate from our college days, we enter into a rat race. The first things is placements, and my friends are getting placed, or somebody is getting placed in Google, or somebody is getting placed in Asian Paints, somebody is with ICICI. Okay, which is the best one? Who am I left out? A lot of questions, and you feel really unsecured. So the first thing which we must be doing is moving away all these thoughts and having a strategy or a plan created for yourself, because a career is a lot more dependent on a lot of other factors. Like you can see, it's also wealth creation, it's also about family, it's also about compromising your mental health, your physical health, and your family. I'm sure a lot of you yourself will be having a lot of close connections with your friends. So you need to have a balance between all of these, and your career should be a streamlined one between all of these factors. Only then your life is taken care of in a much more successful manner. You would have seen a lot of your friends, after getting placed, they, don't touch base with you. They don't keep in touch. It's all because of the stress factor, or they are not able to manage the family factor or the wealth factor. So you, whenever you're planning something, after your graduation, write the top 25 things you would like to do in your life. For example, you could love traveling, you could like doing, content writing, you could like, exploring more on social media. Maybe coding is something which you like, maybe designing is something which you like. Write down the top 20 or 25 things which you like the most in your life. And as you're graduating, start eliminating it one by one. Okay, this is something, it's not the best of things. Though I like doing social media, I don't like to become an influencer. Okay, I like coding, but maybe design is better off with me. So start eliminating things, and maybe by end of 1 year or the second year, you can sort out maybe the best 5 things you're good at, and that's how successful people make out a career out of it. The second thing you should be focusing at it, you have got like maybe 5 to 6 things which you really like about. Now you should be understanding, okay, I like these things, but do I have a passion about it? So passion is something which you would really like to work for it without looking at any of the remuneration or benefits fetched from it. For example, if you look at your top most admired personalities in India, starting from cricket, Virat Kohli, Sachin, music, A.R. Rahman. If you look at business, starting from Mr. Ratan Tata till maybe Kunal or Vijay, you know it. You look at all these people who have really successful is because they followed a passion. For example, Sachin, he never planned out his career to be the best batsman in the world. He had a passion, and these things, the remuneration, the success followed it. Same with Virat Kohli, same with Vijay, the founder of Paytm. You look at any entrepreneurs, it's a passion which drives them. So only somebody who has passion, who works along with passion, is able to really have a success over the long run. So second thing is, when you really start deciding about passion, the thing is, you'll have to eliminate a lot of people when you enter into your core discussions about career, because the first things, I have done a lot of mistakes, is I go to my closest network and ask, hey, how about sound engineering? Is it a good, good scope of, entering a career? My friends were never into sound engineering, and that's something new which they've heard 10 years back. And they were like, hey, that's not a good option. Look at MBA, look at, marketing, look at, finance. These are stable, areas where you can focus at. So what you need to do is avoid discussing your career with your circle, because your circle is very limited. Explore that. Go out of countries, go out to entrepreneurs, go out to people who have never done what you're doing currently, or your family is doing currently. Because you go to your family, again, they're going to tell you things which they know about it, because they are limited to maybe engineering knowledge, or maybe, for example, maybe they don't even know that there are a lot of new career strings came up, like YouTubing, like content writing, like influencing, like robotics, AI, space. These are unexplored territories which our parents or our circle cannot explain it to you. But when you go and talk to somebody who is already doing something in the space research, they're gonna tell that, hey, there are 10,000 vacancies here. Why didn't you try exploring it? So only then you will be able to carve a niche in your career. So that's something very important. Third thing is, whenever you're entering into your particular field, for example, you are into design engineering. Now we enter to it. Don't confuse with your friends or your network. Oh, have I taken a right decision? He has gone to consulting. Oh, he has gone to coding. Am I good at designing? No, that's not the way of thinking about it. It's about a long-term strategy. If I do designing, if I learn about designing today, where am I going to land 10 years down the line? Where am I going to land 20 years down the line? And write down your other plans, like financial plans, like, okay, 20 years down the line, should I be retiring? What age I should be retiring? If at all, what is the kind of money I should have in hand to retire? Will my family be with me? Am I okay relocating to other regions to explore these particular employment opportunity? For example, if you're looking at automotive, obviously sitting in Kerala you can't have much job opportunity. You'll have to go either to Bangalore, Chennai, or Pune. Whereas if you're into coding, Bangalore is a great option. So all these things, all these thoughts should come into your mind, while strategizing your career. These are very important things, because once you enter into something, it doesn't make sense coming back and recorrecting it. You can do that, but you're gonna waste a lot of your effort, time, and money. And the next thing is, once you've sorted about what really you want to do in life, about your career, about specifically what in career, because these days people are looking for subject matter experts. So if you're looking at something about mobile technology, should go deep into it. Okay, is it about chip designing? Okay, is it about designing a mobile, or is it about the software part of it? What kind of software? All of that. Go deep into the subject and understand. Okay, what is lying the scope of innovation, and start learning about it. That's something you need to do. So once you're sorted with that, next is brand building. So you need to have a brand for yourself, so that other people can get to know more about you. For example, you are in the area of finance and account management. Now you have to create a brand in the industry, telling that, okay, if I need to consult about GST, I need to go to Mr. Abhishek. That's the kind of brand you'll have to create in an organization, in a locality, and in your social network. Start with Naukri and LinkedIn, these kind of platforms where you can really build up your profiles. Especially LinkedIn, you can connect with people, you can explore what other people are doing, what are the success stories, and also start having good profile pictures so that you can demonstrate, create a first impression to prospective employers and those kind of things. And secondly, I would also recommend you to clean up your social media, avoid hate speeches, avoid some negative talks. It has to be very professionally maintained, including your Facebook, Instagrams, because professional companies, especially the MNCs, they're very particular about these kind of things. They don't entertain people involving in small talks about politics, about religion, about basic mentalities, all of that. No kind of prejudice. You have to be very professional in the content which you share in the social platforms. So these days, if you're looking to get placed in Google or a Microsoft, they do a background verification on your social media if it is clean. So it makes sure you clean up all these things while building your LinkedIn and Naukri profiles. The next thing is, once you have your profile updated, it's always important for you to create a resume, because at the end of the day, all these companies are looking forward to have a resume in hand, go through what are the benefits of hiring X person. So you need to have a very intelligent resume. And these days, as you know, everything is automated. So you try to apply for a job in McKinsey or even a startup company. It goes through an automated process through their website, where these applications picks up specific keywords from your resume. No matter how talented you are, you need to have the right kind of keywords on your resume so that you get picked. For example, I'm a SaaS sales solution professional specified in account management. That's the kind of skill sets I have. But in my industry, they use keywords like SaaS or software as a solution, or concept selling, or it could be software. I mean, there are tons of keywords which are similar with what work I'm doing. So when I'm building a resume, make sure that you don't miss out any of the keywords which can be searchable to find you out. So that's one area many candidates miss out, because you have a great profile, but you are missing out a lot of keywords which employers keep, adding on. And there are a lot of jargons being used in the market. Keep updated about these jargons. So it's about optimizing your keywords. So once you start applying for each of these jobs, you go through the job description of each company, what they are asked for. For example, they might ask keywords like RFQs. I mean, every industry has their own keywords, a set of keywords. These could be abbreviations or these could be generally used jargons in the market. So once you keep applying for these jobs, find out what are those jargons used in those industries. Keep adding those jargons to your resume every time you keep applying. For example, you apply for a job in Microsoft, you found out a new word which is related to your resume. Okay, this is an important word. Add it to your resume with a dialogue. I am good at this certification or this keyword, so that if it is being searched, they should not miss out this resume. So make sure that your kind of SEO is being done on your resume, which is very, very important these days. Next, once you're sorted with a very attractive, full-fledged resume with all relevant keywords, you must be very proactive in adding testimonials from industry leaders. For example, you're a fresher. Try to connect with anyone of your alumni or somebody who's in a very senior role, for example, regional directors, regional managers, head of businesses. Do some kind of favor to them or get connected with them. Ask for a two-liner, testimonial, just to push your resume across. So once you get this testimonial, maybe on your LinkedIn or on your Naukri, keep a snapshot of that on your resume. This is going to add a lot of value to your resume because somebody is testifying, hey, this person is good at this, and that person is representing a bigger brand. It's going to add a lot of value to you. So this is also very important and unique, which many of them, I'm not seeing them doing that, but this is going to add a lot of value to your resume. And once you've started doing that, like, you're well connected on Facebook, LinkedIn, other platforms. If you would have realized, about 60 to 70% of the recruitments holistically in the market is being done through references. Because starting from MNCs to these startup companies, everyone likes to hire through references because they reduce the risk of unknown. They are being recommended by somebody working in your company. So the chances are good that, okay, this person who is being referred knows well about my company. Let me give him more weightage over the other candidates who have come through other sources, maybe applied through the careers portal, maybe through the job portal. And somebody, if my employer, a colleague is referring a CV to me, obviously I'll be giving weightage to that person because he has given kind of a testimony. Okay, this guy is good at this. Why don't we have a chat with him? So that's important. So start connecting with people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, people who is working in the same, industries. Start, having conversation with regard to, what should I do so that, my resume can be pushed to the head of divisions, HR managers, so that at least you strike some interviews with them. This, and if you understand, MNCs spend a lot of money in terms of referral bonus. The average referral bonus in India is about 20 to 30,000 rupees. So imagine somebody is getting paid for referring you. So he will be pushing your CV a lot, to get a job for you. So that's the best way where, somebody is exclusively working for you to push your CV and get you an offer. So try that way, if you can get references, including companies like mine, Microsoft, startup companies like, Uber, or not Uber, maybe Cred, any of those startup companies you go, they have a referral program. Try to utilize it. Then the next thing is doing free certifications. So after COVID, what you would have realized is most of the companies starting from Wipro, HCL, Google, they have started their own certification programs where they try to train their prospective employees and kind of give them a certificate to empower them to apply back to the same companies. So companies are getting benefited out of it because they're sharing knowledge and they're getting well-trained employees who are certified, apply back to them. So they're going to save a lot of cost. And employees can also benefit because this is something free. So start exploring, free courses with these employers so that, even internship opportunities, because many companies have a lot of problems to be solved. For example, Cred has a lot of problems to be solved. What they do is they assign it to internship employees, and if they solve the problem, they get a great offer with great salaries. These kind of opportunities are coming up. You should be grabbing them by visiting their websites and understanding if they have such programs run. And the last, I think this would be the last one, customization of the resumes and interview. So if we have covered those 9 points, which will be having about 70% of the weightage, this particular point has 30% of weightage on where you're going to land. So what happens is every company has a work culture. Every company has a target skill set. They're looking for something which can drive their vision and get revenues on it. So what happens is every company is looking for somebody very unique of what they're going to hire. So you must be, as an employee, a prospective employee, you must be understanding in detail about what are their talent goals, what's the work culture, and customize the resumes accordingly. For example, there are some companies who are very flashy in the market, who likes a lot of branding, colorful resumes. There are other companies who are very traditional, who want the plain old type of resumes where a lot of content is available, what a lot of certifications is available. So try to understand what kind of a company is it, and try to pick keywords from the job description on your resume. I know it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of efforts, but if you put in these efforts, you increase your chance of getting an interview call by 70%. So that's a lot of weightage. Start customizing your resume every time you apply. It's not around the resume. So once you get an interview call, tell me about yourself is mostly the question you're gonna face first. Every company, you should be customizing this tell me about yourself to the job description placed on the web page. So understand what is that they're looking for. Okay, they're looking for somebody who can problem solve. So tell me about yourself should also have few content about the problems which you solved in your previous internship, or maybe in your previous job, or what are the aspirations you have. Connect it very well to the job description, so that you increase your chance and improves. This thing, it is very important. Try doing this for every interviews. You will really see the change. People are lazy. What happens is they have a standard set of resume, they keep forwarding it, and they come back and say, hey, I didn't get an interview call. Hey, I didn't get a proper interview. But once you start customizing it for every interviews, you become very confident. You become very talented about okay, I am good at customizing and talking about what I'm specialized on. That's gonna add a lot of value to what you do. So that's all about my insights about getting your dream job. So like I said, it's a long-term prospect. Never get into a competition or a rat race about, hey, my friend is doing well, he has bought a car, he has bought a house at his 30s, I'm reaching nowhere. No, everybody has a timeline of 30 to 40 years. That's a career. So plan it accordingly. So your success is not at your 20s, at your 30s. It's a long-term game. So plan it accordingly. Somebody who plans it really, really well wins the game. Rest is all, the real which you see, okay, he's going there, he's doing well. No, that's all the real game. The real game is about, your exit goals, where, are you getting your early retirement? Are you capable enough of retiring at your 40s? So these are the real games which you should be focusing on. So you might get a little bit of fickle-mindedness of okay, my other friends are getting 10x my salary, 5x my salary. Am I getting it? No, it's about learning. The first 5 years is all about learning. So it's kind of a compounding. So you focus more on the learning in the first 10 years. In the 15th year, you could be a VP of the company. And the other friend who is getting 10x of the salary will continue the same. So that's how his life, that's how his career. So plan it accordingly. I also have my better half, Meera. She recently has joined Microsoft. So she has a great case study, a live example to share with. So what has happened is she took a break after her maternity. And she thought that she can come back to her job, and maybe a 6 months time. But, surprisingly, it took almost 2 years for her to get placed. Every company she went, the work-life balance was not good. Interviews were tough to crack, especially after a break. And finally, she landed up in Microsoft. So she'll have a lot of insights about, how well the interview went. It was about 4 rounds of interview. So her insight should be really good, to have a hands-on experience to be shared. So I'll share the screen with her, and maybe we'll take the questions after that.
Thanks, Arjun. Excellent, excellent. So let me just add on Meera's behalf, she is also a graduate of Amrita Business School, and she also has done well because of her willingness to do the type of things that Arjun has mentioned. So I will let her speak now about her specific example.
Hi, good evening all, and thanks Arjun for the wonderful intro, and thanks Jay. Well, okay, as Mr. Jay said, I graduated from ASB Cochin, okay, majored in marketing. So that's all about my studies. Then I started off my career with media, then moved on to IT. And from there, I was able to land up into IT asset management. I'm not sure how many of you are really aware about that one. So it's all about the hardware and software management of company. And that too, it's a role which you can really see in the big corporates. Okay, that was one of the challenges which I really faced in which really led me into, I can say, end up with Microsoft. Because the opportunities that you really have for such kind of a role is in big, large MNCs. Okay, so starting off, okay, what I was working with as. So I was working as IT asset management and education sector in a government company here. Then I got a gap of 2 years because I thought of spending some time with my baby. Then getting back to work was a little bit tough, I feel. I mean, then, okay, I started working on my skill set. I started preparing for interviews. Yes, I got a few calls and yeah, but unfortunately it didn't went well. Okay, then I really started working on my sorry, just a second. Okay, then I started on filtering down, what are the opportunities in the market that I have? So this is where I came to realize that, okay, so my opportunities are left with, these kind of big tycoons like Microsoft, Oracle, Google. So that was the first step that I took, finding my opportunities. Where can I approach for my right job as an IT asset management professional? So so what was my first step was I started on visiting these portals of Microsoft Careers or Google Careers or Amazon Careers. So then the first step what I have done is I have started understanding the job description of how should I align my CV with, or the keywords that I have used in the CV. So I started uploading in all these websites of Microsoft or Google or Amazon, Oracle, where I could really find the opportunities. So that was the first step. And yes, successfully, I got the call from Microsoft one day. So that role was for the data center wing. So the role is called Data Center Inventory Asset Management. So in that, okay, the first step was I had an HR interview call wherein you'll be tested for your attitude, how jovial you are, whether you'll be a good fit for Microsoft culture. So that was the first step. Then going forward, I had 3 set of interviews. Okay, it was mostly panel interviews, and yeah, finally with the UAE regional head of data center. So that was all about the process. So, and yeah, after that, in because data center is it's more aligned to securities and such kind of things. So I had a security check also, in which they'll be tracking all our records, like Arjun has mentioned, even yeah, the social media thing, all our bank records, our credibility. Is she really a fit for Microsoft in terms of, because Microsoft runs on trust. So they always test okay, is she aligned with the value system of Microsoft? So that is where it's tested. So these are the process of Microsoft, I can say. And in terms of briefing on the preparation part of what I have done, it's the first step I should say is preparation of my CV. okay, I have realized or identified the job role there, like data center inventory asset management. So I started tweaking my job description, like as an IT asset inventory. It's not like data center. I started tweaking on to like the job description in aligned with their job description. That was the first step that I did, and it really worked in terms of keywords. Okay, so it has to be ATS compliant also. That's one thing which you have to really check on. And these days what happened is like to beautify your CV, you add on a lot of even, you know, when you add like symbols, so it is not really ATS compliant. So that's one thing which you really have to check on. Then yeah, so once your CV is shortlisted, you'll be receiving a call from them. So that is when, I mean, you really have to start preparing on or understanding on what are their culture, their value, their mission statement, and all these things. You need to get into the value system of what they or how they work with, what is their work culture. So what kind of attitude is that they really expect from you. So these are the things, or the first step I think you should do in terms of research. And the second thing is like, understand like what is you have written in your CV, like thoroughly study your CV. Like there shouldn't be any point that, okay, they have a question on your CV and you don't have an answer, like by heart it. You should be clear on, don't bluff. I mean, you have to be real when you're really attending the interviews of these kind of MNCs. They don't want you to bluff, or, you know, they want real people. They really want cool people, I can say. That's the second thing. So study your CV, study the company well. And the next step would be, I think, okay, studying the JD. Okay, even though you're not able to find the real like detailed JD, it's not always necessary that these companies have like a proper JD or stuff, but you can do your research in Google or other medias, or you can connect through their colleagues in LinkedIn and you can get the proper JD. Study the JD. Each and every word in the JD makes sense. I mean, you have to learn, like for me, it was like data center inventory as a technician. So many things like RMA, terms like RMA, like return to manufacturer authorization. So I'm not really aware about that one. So I have done my research on that, seen videos. So that's how you have to do the research. Read through the lines, each line in JD, each word. So these are the key 3 things which I feel in terms of like initial preparation that you have to do. So then once you are in the interview, so my first interview is a panel interview. So wherein the first thing what I felt Microsoft is doing is like they'll be testing on your attitude a lot, your behavioral patterns. That's what they're testing the most. Okay, how cool you are in the interview. They don't want anybody to be like, I know, I mean, we'll be stressed because it's an interview with a big company, but they're expecting you to smile or be jovial. Okay, but you have to try to do that. I mean, it will help a lot. Okay, that's one thing. Then, okay, just like normal interviews only, it will start, the first question will be, tell me about yourself. You'll be thinking, okay, is it that unconventional? But no, they really want to, I mean, that's the ones like the cracking point where you can get into them. Like, tell me about yourself. You have to really, you know, write it down, just frame it accordingly, align it with their mission, their vision, their value system. Like Microsoft always look for people who can adapt and collaborate to their system, or who is really trustworthy, who is learnable, really have a good attitude. This is what they're testing. So make sure you have a story to tell them, like in your tell me about yourself, like how you can brief about, you know, what you are and how you have learned and how you have grown and reached this place. So that is all about my tell me about yourself. Then you will be having the technical questions and how you have dealt with various projects, or and also one thing I felt is like you have to really prepare some basic questions, like for Microsoft to something like behavioral questions. I can say like, what are the biggest challenges that you have faced in your organization, or which was your toughest project that you have dealt, and how did you handle a tough colleague, or how have you embraced some kind of changes in your organization, or how to say that, and how have you dealt with a difficult team member in a particular project. So the best way to answer these questions are like align it with their values or mission, and that's really important. The next thing would be using the STAR technique. Like, I'm not really sure how many of you are really aware about the STAR technique. So it's basically you have to portray in a manner of situation, task, action, and the result. So that is one thing which really worked for me, STAR technique. So in behavioral question really goes well. So the panel interviews were like pretty similar. So the all 3 rounds was pretty similar. So then the final round was the toughest. So it was with the UAE regional head, wherein he was testing on, am I really sure on this position? So this is what I want, or and apart from the technical question or the behavioral question, that is what he was really testing for. Are you really sure on this role? He briefed me about like what is the expectation of Microsoft in terms of work, the difficulties, the good part, and everything. So in that also, they were really testing on the behavior and the attitude. And yeah, all the 4 rounds went well. So that was all about my experience with Microsoft. Yeah, so to finally I landed up with data center and inventory and asset role. Yeah, it's a wonderful journey, and I really wish, I mean, I can see many other alumni also ending up with these big tycoons.
So if you look at, like I said, everybody has to specialize on a specific domain. If you look at, so I cannot be specifying on a particular tool which can cover up all these domains. So if you can browse through Coursera, PDX, Harvard University, you have Naukri Learning, you have LinkedIn Learning. Keep browsing through all of these platforms so that you get your best find. That's one way of doing it. And second is, I recommend making Google your best friend. So you find out a new term, or you find out a new certification, Google about it. It is going to suggest you a lot more other things which is around it. So you keep browsing it, and you figure out, you yourself would discover the best options available for you. So that's how it goes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Anyway, I am going through every day. Thanks a lot. It's a nice answer.
Okay.
You go through. Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Next question, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this informative presentation. I took a lot from it. I am actually an undergraduate student currently in my 2nd year, and my question to the both of you is that, like, do you really feel that resumes should necessarily be specific to a particular job that you want to have, and there is no possibility of having a general kind of resume? Like, do you think there are certain points that are common for that should be there as a must in a resume, no matter what job you do, whether it be in an MNC or a startup?
Sure. So like I said, see, it all boils down to result orientation. So if you are a result oriented person, putting that extra efforts really matters, because like you said, for example, I'm in a company. So I would look at very specific certain skill sets which others do not have. So if you're sending me a very generic resume, I might be pushing that aside because I'm not getting what I'm exactly looking for. But had you customized those resumes as per my requirement, obviously I will be giving you an interview call. So you increase your chance of getting an interview call by at least 5x by customizing the resume.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Next question, please. Any more questions? Any other issues?
Arnav here once again. Wanted to inquire with Meera, the STAR technique that you have said, is this only followed in Microsoft, in all other giants also, in other big conglomerates also? Number one. Number two, is that something I can Google it really and learn that STAR technique and adapt to it? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. No, thanks for the question. And see, STAR technique is not anything like, Microsoft want their, candidates to answer in that way. So that is something which I have found in my research, that, okay, STAR is basically, you understand, like situation, task, action, and result. You can basically, like, if they're asking you a question, you can organize your answer in that, like, beautiful way of telling them or presenting your points in a well-mannered way. So you can use it in any company, be it a startup or be it an MNC or anything. It just helps you in structuring the answer and presenting it in a well-disciplined manner, I can say. So yeah, you can Google it. Of course, you can Google it. There are a lot of videos which even I have referred myself. Yeah, maybe I can share some link later on. So which is, yeah, you can Google and you can see those videos. So they'll quote out examples of how you can present in STAR technique. So with that, you will have better understanding on how to use STAR technique for answering.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. A good question, Arnav. Okay, anyone else that would like to ask a question? Can I pose one, if you don't mind, because I'm curious about something. That,
Sure.
The Middle East is a very good destination for many people that would like to speed up their career and also make a lot more money, usually, okay, for professions and so on. Could you talk a little bit about some of the, the advantages that you found versus working, let's say, in one of the Tier 1 cities here in India? What are the advantages of Dubai versus here for someone who's a professional couple?
Okay, so I'll start with. So I started off in Chennai branch with Naukri.com. So the predominant difference between Chennai and Dubai is Chennai, for example, you put 5x efforts for your work, you get rewarded maybe $100, assuming you do 1x here, you get rewarded $1,000. So that's a kind of difference in terms of remuneration. It's because of more aligned to the dollar currencies, and you get benefit out of the currency. That's one. But again, there's a costing difference. So for example, I'm getting $1,000 here as my salary. 500 would go for rent, whereas in India, you may be selling around $10 for rent. So that's the calculation about when it comes to expenses. Benefits over here, obviously the tax benefit. You don't have an income tax in India. You have approximately 18 to 30% of income tax. That's number one. Advantage of India, I feel India offers a much more robust work environment in terms of knowledge, in terms of challenges, in terms of growth opportunities, because here it's still a developing market, I would say, in terms of technology, in terms of reach. Though brand wise, yes, Dubai is there, but in reality, if you look at, for example, you go to a Kirana store, there's still a Paytm to be a payment option available. Whereas if you go to certain supermarkets here, you would still find, they don't accept a card payment. There are cases. So I'm giving you a raw example of a perspective in terms of what's real life. But again, yeah, finally, bottom line, if you're looking at making money, this would be a really better market, because you get the tax benefit, you get a higher currency benefit, and yeah, you can save a little money.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else with a question, or should we conclude?
Hi, this is Arnav once again.
Right.
Small thing. Arjun, you said something about relevant certification. Very lately, I have done some certification from LinkedIn though. And I was also looking into Coursera and Google as well, because Coursera itself gives a lot of certification for Google, IBMs and all. Is there any other website or certification courses which are very important for individuals who are in the middle of a transition of their career, so that they can gather relevant certifications from, other than Coursera and Google? Anything else you can suggest?
Yeah. These are about generic certification which every company offers. There are middle agencies offers these. So of late, I've realized that large corporates, starting from Wipro, TCS, HCL, or if you look at MNCs like Microsoft, Google, they have learning programs on their website. So you will have to go and browse through each of those platforms, what's happening. Even Microsoft has something called funding for startups. If you have a startup idea, you go to Microsoft page and fill up all the details they're looking for. They even fund your startups. So many companies have been doing that. In India, Cred has been doing that. In India, Paytm has been doing that for funding as well as for training employees. So each companies, when you like certain companies, go through their website, or Google it down, figure out. You even have partnership managers. You can find them on LinkedIn, connect with them, and check for training opportunities, internship opportunities. Like I said, cred. What happens is if they're facing any corporate issues, a problem solving opportunity is posted on the website. So as an intern, you can go to their website and get registered. If you solve the problem, they pay you as well as they offer you a job. So that's how they work. Each company has their own strategies of training employees. So you can figure out, again, like I said, by browsing the website and Googling.
Thank you.
Arnav, I'd like to add something to that, because this is an area that we know at Amrita pretty well, because we're going to be doing much of it. There are certain large MNCs, depending on the exact area within the business field that you're looking at. Amazon has a lot of free courses. We have, many free courses from Cisco because of an agreement. Microsoft, we have many free courses, and it continues with HubSpot and many other ones, just as, what Arjun was mentioning. The key thing here also is that you need to get some type of credibility that you have completed the course in a good way. So all of them also offer tests that you can take to show that you have achieved a certain level of competence, but that costs a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit of money. So please keep that in mind, that if you would like to be, for example, a cybersecurity expert, I can show you the 4 or 5 things you have to do, but the cost of getting that physical certificate from that company is a little bit more. They make a little bit of money from that, okay? But if you want to take the course, usually most courses are free.